Hi everybody, welcome back to my living room. Today we're going to be building the Raven Barrette that I've been posting up on Facebook and Instagram for the last week. But before we get into that, go ahead, pause the video, get yourself a cup of coffee, tea, beer, whatever you feel like, and I'll see you when you get back.
Okay, so the first step in any leather tooling project is to get the leather nice and wet. You gotta soak the leather all the way to the core. So, since this is a pretty thick piece of leather, I'm gonna have to go over this a few times. A lot of leather crafting YouTubers I've watched recently tend to like to go over it once, cut the camera out, and then do whatever else they have to do. And there is some cuts I made in here, but for the most part, you're going to get to see me getting the leather nice and soaked, and then off camera is when I let it dry. It took about 20 minutes overall. It really wasn't that bad, but it was more involved and involved a lot more water than I was led to believe initially. That's why this is all in here. But the whole point of this is to make a soft core that you're working and pressing the leather into. So here I'm going to emboss the design into the leather piece that I have. This is how you transfer leather designs altogether. And I'm just using a regular cheap mechanical pencil with the lead pushed in. That way it doesn't press through the paper and start drawing on the leather, because I don't want that. I just want a design pressed in, not marked on, right? Also, I gave you guys a lovely wrist shot, that 848. It's going to be super important someday. Take note. So on a completely unrelated side note, I've been looking into selling on Etsy, as you guys know. I keep running into a rather disturbing thing regarding their advertising practices and how much they require you to be involved in them and how much they take out because of them, that I don't know that I would like to be a part of. So I'm going to be looking into other ways to run an online shop, and I kind of forgot the eyes there, so I'm going to go ahead and add those now. If you have any recommendations for other online shop services, I don't know, like Shopify or whatever it is, feel free to tell me in the comments. I would love to hear about it. I'll look into them, and hopefully maybe we find something better than Etsy. That'd be pretty cool, huh? So now I'm taking a swivel knife and I'm carving in the design lines to get the tooling started. Really just doing this to create some boundaries, help define some of the elements more, like the feathers. Actually, all the feathers. That's the only thing I'm swivel knifing here. And I could have done this with an X-Acto knife, but a swivel knife gives a lot more control and is well worth the investment when you finally get into more detailed stuff. Now I'm carving in the back feathers, which I actually started doing with a stamp in a later version, just to allow for more randomness, and it actually looks better, I think. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it as it came out. And And once again, you gotta wet that leather, keep it nice and damp. Not really wet on the outside, but the core of it has to be pretty soaked. This allows impressions to stay and those kind of things. And I'm sorry if my hands keep getting in the way of the piece. Right now I'm still learning how to work a camera and do the things. So yeah. As time goes on, I'll get better. But in the meantime, sorry about it. I'll try to minimize it in the future. Wasn't quite done with the swivel knife, but got really close. But I did show you the next thing that I'm going to use, which is a beveler stamp. And that's used to lower one of the edges of that I cut earlier, so that it has a kind of 3D look to it. So here we go, just kind of gently tapping that in. There's tricks to this, but the biggest key is to always be moving the beveler so that when you strike it with the hammer, it kind of forms an even surface. And then you'll see me later in the video going over the thing again with just the beveler to kind of smooth out the lumps and bumps that the hammering caused. By the way, there is another thing I'm going to call a beveler here later in the video. It's funny, but one's for edging and one's for inside the piece work. This is the inside the piece one. You'll see the other one in a minute. As you can no doubt tell from the hammer speed there, I'm kind of accelerating this video. Overall, this process takes about 45 minutes, but I sped it up with it ×2 and cut out a lot of the big gaps where I'm doing nothing. So here's the other beveler thing. Once again, this is just for carving away the sharp edge on the corners of stuff. I'm not sure if I'm always going to use this on this kind of piece, because as you can tell right here, it's really hard to get it into the tight corners of the feather details. But I like it better. It makes the edge look cleaner, nicer, more on purpose. Having a little difficulty with my camera's auto zoom here. Looks like I maybe need to just set it at a specific distance and then hope for the best in future videos. The one thing I'm not going to show you on this piece is the dyeing that I did at the end. So, as you can no doubt tell, the background here is really dark, and when I applied the black dye that I was using to make this a raven, it disappeared into the background. So I'm going to have to get a lighter background for next time I want to do that. And I mentioned going over the wings again with the internal beveler. And here's that. Just kind of rubbing it back and forth, getting everything nice and even. Alright, for the most part this is done. Just gotta punch some holes for the hairpin to go through, and then it's time to dye the thing. Another great wrist shot. I need to get better at my camera work, but I'll get there. Brand new channel, you know. I am really glad to have these this punch set, by the way, because with the paper punch I was using, this would not have worked at all. I would have made a mangled mess of this particular piece and then had to go out and buy something. So I'm kind of punching an elongated hole, and I'm doing that by punching one hole and then overlapping it really closely with another hole. And then in later ones I kind of trim off the excess so that it doesn't look weird. But there we go. And here's it with the hairpin installed. Just gonna give that a second, Look at it there. And yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out. I can't wait to start selling them. I've got nothing but good feedback back from the people that I've shown them to. And yeah. So thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff.